In less than 40 years, China was transformed from an ancient empire, thousands of years old, to a communist revolution that would reshape the world. How did this happen? This is the story of a nation in turmoil, a story of revolution, civil war, and the birth of modern China. At the dawn of the 20th century, the Qing dynasty, China's last imperial line, was crumbling. For centuries, emperors had ruled from the Forbidden City in Beijing, but their authority was fading. Internal rebellions, foreign pressure, and the feeling that the old ways were no longer enough created a perfect storm. The final push came in 1911. A revolution erupted, spreading like wildfire across the country. Provinces declared their independence one by one. In 1912, the last emperor, a young boy named Puyi, formerly Abdu. Over 2,000 years of imperial rule in China had come to an end. The nation was now a republic, but its troubles were far from over. The new Republic of China was founded with immense hope. Its first provisional president was Sun Yat-sen, a revolutionary leader who had spent years in exile. Sun envisioned a modern, democratic China built on his three principles of the people, nationalism, democracy, and the people's livelihood. He wanted to unify the country, create a government for the people, and improve their economic well-being. But Sun Yat-sen lacked the military power to enforce his vision. He soon handed the presidency to Yuan Shikai, a powerful general from the old imperial army. It was a fateful decision. Yuan Shikai had his own ambitions. He dreamed of becoming emperor himself. The hopes for a stable, democratic republic quickly began to fade. After Yuan Shikai's death in 1916, China shattered. The central government in Beijing lost all real authority. The country broke apart into regions controlled by powerful military leaders known as warlords. This period was one of chaos and constant conflict. Warlords fought each other for territory and resources, levying heavy taxes on the people and conscripting their sons into private armies. For ordinary Chinese people, it was a time of immense suffering and uncertainty. The dream of a unified, modern nation seemed more distant than ever. Amid this chaos, new ideas and new political forces began to rise, seeking to offer a different path forward. Out of the turmoil of the warlord era, two major political parties emerged, both determined to unify China, but with vastly different ideologies. First, there was the Kuomintang, or Kayimta, the nationalist party, which had been founded by Sun Yat. After Sun's death in 1925, leadership passed to Chiang Kai-shek, a military commander. The KMT aimed to unify China under a single, strong, central government. On the other side was the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, founded in 1921. Inspired by the Russian Revolution, the Communists, including a young activist named Mao Zedong, believed that true revolution had to come from the peasants and workers. For a brief time, the two parties formed an alliance to fight the warlords, but their deep ideological differences made a clash inevitable. The alliance between the nationalists and communists was fragile and short-lived. In 1927, Chiang Kai-shek, fearing the growing influence of the communists, turned on them. He launched a brutal purge, executing thousands of CCP members in Shanghai and other cities. This event marked the beginning of the Chinese Civil War. The surviving communists fled to the countryside, where they began to build up their strength, focusing on winning the support of the vast rural population. The nationalists under Chiang established a new government in Nanjing and controlled the major cities, but the communists were not defeated. In 1934, facing encirclement by nationalist forces, the communists embarked on an epic and grueling retreat known as the Long March. Over a year, they marched thousands of miles through some of China's most difficult terrain. The ordeal was devastating, but it turned Mao Zedong into the undisputed leader of the Communist Party and became a foundational myth for their revolution. Just as the Civil War was intensifying, an even greater threat emerged. The Empire of Japan had been aggressively expanding into mainland Asia for years. In 1931, Japan invaded and occupied Manchuria, a resource-rich region in northeastern China. Then, in 1937, a clash between Chinese and Japanese troops near Beijing escalated into a full-scale invasion. The Second Sino-Japanese War had begun. The brutality of the war was horrific, with events like the Nanjing Massacre shocking the world. Faced with a common enemy, the nationalists and communists reluctantly agreed to a second united front to resist the Japanese invasion. For 8 long years, China fought a desperate war of resistance. While the nationalists bore the brunt of the conventional fighting, the communists used guerrilla tactics to harass the Japanese occupiers, expanding their influence in the countryside. At the same time, the war, which would eventually merge into World War II, devastated China but also fundamentally changed the balance of power between the KMT and the CCP. When Japan surrendered in 1945, ending World War II, the brief truce in China was over. The Civil War resumed. But the situation was different. The nationalist government was weakened and exhausted after 8 years of war against Japan. Corruption was rampant, and the economy was in ruins, causing widespread public discontent. In contrast, the communists emerged from the war stronger and better organized. Their land reform policies won them massive support among the peasantry, and their ranks swelled with new recruits. Mao's Red Army, now experienced and highly motivated, launched a series of major offensives. City after city fell. The nationalist forces, despite their initial superiority in numbers and equipment, collapsed. By 1949, the outcome was clear. Chiang Kai-shek and the remnants of his nationalist government fled to the island of Taiwan. On October 1, 1949, in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, Mao Zedong stood before a massive crowd and proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China. The communist victory in 1949 had profound historical consequences. It ended more than a century of what many Chinese call the Century of Humiliation, a period of foreign domination and internal division, but it also created a divided China. The People's Republic of China controlled the mainland, while the Republic of China continued on Taiwan, each claiming to be the legitimate government of all of China, situation that continues to shape international politics to this day. The 1949 revolution didn't just redefine China. It redefined the 20th century. A new global power had been born, one that would follow its own unique and often tumultuous path, impacting the entire world in ways that we are still grappling with today. Thanks for watching. If you found this history interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world.